Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. Well, I've been watching the news lately. It looks like Ferguson, Missouri is like a firecracker about to explode. I just watched a little bit of Fox News, and Governor Nixon imposed a state of emergency for Ferguson, Missouri. And what that means is that the place will be locked down from 12 in the morning a.m. until 5 a.m. No one will be allowed on the street except for emergency vehicles. And it was interesting to listen to the audience. They're rather demanding, and what they say they want is they want justice. They all want justice. Captain Ron Johnson spoke, and he said that the FBI has sent 40 agents to Ferguson, and they're knocking on doors looking for witnesses. I got a question. Why would they be looking for witnesses if they've got an eyewitness? Huh? And Dorian Johnson. Why are they looking for more witnesses? But that's a different story. Now, what's interesting, too, is the Congressman William Lacy Clay, Jr., he made a couple of comments towards the end, and he said that I had asked the Attorney General, Eric H. Holder, to take over the case as a civil rights violation. Then he went on to say, let the process go forward and let the feds prosecute. Listen to this one more time. I'd asked the Attorney General, Eric H. Holder, to take over the case as a civil rights violation. Let the process go forward and let the feds prosecute. Well, who are the feds going to prosecute? Huh? I mean, if he's already stating that he wants the process to go forward and the feds to prosecute, who are they going to prosecute? Well, the only one they can is the police officer. You know, the crowd got really rowdy towards the end, and the people wanted to know how the police are going to enforce the curfew. And Captain Ron Johnson assured the people that they're not going to be using tanks and they're not going to be using tear gas. Well, I don't know how they're going to impose the curfew if the people decide that they don't want to abide by the curfew. You know what this is? This is like the first step in martial law. I got to believe that the police officer, Darian Wilson, he's got to be shaking in his boots. He's got the full force of the federal government pretty much against him. I don't know, folks. Why would the FBI send 40 agents knocking on doors looking for witnesses when Dorian Johnson's already a federal witness? You think maybe they might not be buying his story? Why don't they listen to what Darian Wilson has to say? Why don't we get a copy of the autopsy report? Why don't we get a copy of the report at the hospital where Darian Wilson was taken? Supposedly he had contusions all over his face. Folks, you got the people screaming, we want justice, and we should have justice. If Darian Wilson's guilty, he should be punished to the full extent of the law. The question is he guilty? If Michael Brown was beating on him, is he not allowed to defend himself? That's why the report from the hospital, and I'm sure they took photographs, all that has to be presented to the American people. And this Congressman William Lacy Clay, what does he want? Well, once again, he asked Attorney General Eric H. Holder to take over the case as a civil rights violation. Why is a civil rights violation? Why? What does civil rights have to do with anything? Because the policeman Darian Wilson was white? And because Michael Brown was black? No. What has to be determined is if it was a righteous shooting. And if so, why? And if not, why not? It has nothing to do with civil rights. And I wouldn't expect William Lacey Clay to understand that. Not for a moment. We'll see what happens this evening. How long will the curfew be imposed? Well, as the governor said, we'll see. We'll get situation awareness tomorrow. But there's no date that was given as to when it'll end. If violence continues, what then? Will this kind of activity spread to other cities? I don't know. Do I think that that's what this administration wants? Absolutely. That's what I think. So what do you think?